I have always felt in my core that I wanted to be an actress, always. But I never thought about films when I was a kid. We didn't get our first VCR until I was 13. And we had 3 TV channels. And I remember being taken to the movies maybe 4 times by either one of my parents as a kid, that we just didn't have very much money. So I didn't really understand the concept of being an actress in films. It was something that Judy Garland did. And so I always thought that if I was lucky enough for it to work out, I would be on the stage. And actually, when I was cast in one episode of a TV series in England when I was 16, my God, that was a huge deal. That was a huge deal. An episode of a TV series, and it paid me equity minimum, that was a lot of money for me in those days. And how I began, though, even though I was 16 being cast, this small part in this TV series, and a year later I was cast in Heavenly Creatures, which was the first film I ever did. Prior to that, I'd been auditioning a lot between the age of about 12 and 15, and I never got the parts, never. And actually, more often than not, because my name began with a W, I would be at the back of the queue, and they would just run out of time. So everyone from kind of T onwards would just be sent home, and you wouldn't even get a look in. And I was always wearing the wrong clothes. My hair had always got static. Just in the moment when you really didn't want it to have static. I never had any makeup because there was never any money for makeup, and even if I had done it, I would have stolen my mother's awful sort of plum from the body shop that would have been smushed by both my other 2 sisters by then. And so, but also as a kid, I was bullied at school because I was always quite chubby. I was always overweight, and I was always told I was wrong. I was doing the wrong thing. I was sort of made to feel ashamed of myself, my appearance, everything about myself. I was the slowest runner. Everything was wrong. And, and you develop a sort of a self-preservation muscle when you experience something like that. But I did always love acting. And I would always feel quite smug about the fact that I had this one thing that I really loved. And I didn't have to go anywhere or do anything to be able to do it. I could literally close my bedroom door and just go on ahead and do it in the mirror if I felt like for hours at a time. I could practice making myself cry. I could practice doing on-screen make-out sessions. I could just do it. And I knew that nobody else in my class at school had any understanding of how great that feeling was. And that, honestly, is something that I have always hung on to, no matter what. And that love, that just genuinely pure love, is something that has affected sometimes the choices that I've made. For example, after Titanic, which was so huge and overwhelming, and I thought I was handling it all fine. Oh, no, I'm fine. I know what I'm doing. Of course my life's not going to change. My life's not changing. My life was completely upside down, and I actually didn't know who the hell I was and was not remotely equipped to be a famous person. I didn't know what to do or how to cope at all. And in actual fact, that was when the determination to choose the things that I really loved and really believed in, above and beyond everything else, that is when that really began, because it meant that I could preserve my love of acting. And I figured if I always love it, then I'll always be able to do it honestly and with an open heart. And so that's what I would say to you. And also, never, ever, ever give up, because I was the kid who watched Whoopi Goldberg hosting the Academy Awards at the age of God knows whatever I was. And I remember her at the end of the show looking out to the TV audience and saying, and for all those kids out there who wonder if one day they could be in this room, well, that could be you. I was that kid watching going, oh my God, that could be me. And look, I've been there 5 times.